Okay, think about all the technology that surrounds us. Your car's radar, your phone's camera, even the Wi-Fi in your home. They all have senses, right? They can see, they can hear, they can sense the world around them. But what if those senses could be, well, lied to? What if an attacker could create ghosts in the signals? That's exactly the invisible war we're diving into today.
So let me ask you this, straight up. Can you lie to a machine? I mean, it seems like a simple question, but the answer, wow, it opens up this hidden world of digital conflict that's happening literally all around us every single day.
Well, the answer is a big, resounding yes. But here's the twist. It's not about hacking its code in the way you might think. No, you lie to a machine by lying to its senses. You corrupt its entire perception of reality.
And let's be clear, this isn't some random technical glitch. This is a deliberate strategy. This is electronic warfare, where the signals themselves are the weapons, and the battlefield, well, the battlefield is reality itself.
Okay, so how does an attacker even start? How do they open fire in this invisible war? Well, it all begins with one of the oldest machine senses out there, radar.
The key weapon in the arsenal is something called a DRFM, which stands for Digital Radio Frequency Memory. The easiest way to think about it is like a malicious echo machine. It's brilliant, really. It grabs an enemy's radar signal, records it, and then plays it back with tiny, calculated, deceptive changes. And just like that, it creates a digital ghost, a phantom target that to the radar system looks completely 100% real.
And what's so wild is how simple, yet totally devastating, these attacks can be. Let's take a classic example, the range gate pull-off. So the DRFM captures a radar pulse from, let's say, an incoming missile. Then it replays that same pulse, but it adds a tiny, and I mean tiny, little delay. We're talking nanoseconds. And it keeps increasing that delay just a little bit with each pulse. To the radar system, this creates this seamless, perfectly believable illusion that the missile is suddenly accelerating away at an impossible speed. The system's like, whoa, it's gone, and it breaks its lock. So cool, right?
And you know, this isn't just military jargon for fighter jets. Think about this. The exact same principle could be used against the radar in your car. An attacker could literally make your self-driving car think a vehicle ahead is speeding away, when in reality it's slamming on the brakes. The consequences there are, well, pretty terrifying to think about.
But okay, radar is just the beginning. That was the opening salvo. The attackers didn't stop there. They expanded the battlefield. Now it's a coordinated assault on every single sense a machine has to perceive the world.
Yeah, this table really lays it all out. It's a multi-front war. For LiDAR, the laser system mapping the world in 3D. Attackers can just flood it with pulses to create blind spots, literally making a pedestrian vanish from the car's point cloud map. For the camera, it can be as simple as a weird-looking sticker, what they call an adversarial patch. That's enough to trick an AI into seeing a speed limit 45 sign when it's actually a stop sign. And it gets even crazier. They can use magnetic fields to mess with the IMU, the inner ear of the device that tells it its orientation. They can literally confuse it and make a car swerve. So yeah, every single sense is vulnerable. So let's dive into two really clever ways to attack a machine's eyes. On one hand, you've got this brute force physical attack, just blinding the LiDAR with a laser. It creates this huge bloom, this dead zone, and just wipes a chunk of reality off the map. Then, on the other hand, you have this incredibly sneaky digital attack. Instead of blinding the camera, you just intercept its data stream, its Ethernet connection, and you inject one single tiny byte. That's all it takes to freeze the frame, to keep showing a clear road, even when a massive obstacle has just appeared. Two totally different methods, same terrifying result, complete deception. So you can see this is a constant cat and mouse game, right? But it was always going to escalate. And boy, has it. Because the ultimate attacker isn't just some pre-programmed box anymore. No, the ultimate attacker is an AI. An AI that can think, learn, and adapt all in real time. And that brings us to the cognitive DFRFM. This is a total game changer. It's not just blindly replaying signals anymore. This is an AI that is actively studying its target. It's learning the radar's unique electronic fingerprint, its secret frequency hopping patterns, all of its defensive moves, and then it custom builds a deception strategy on the fly, designed to be as devastatingly effective as possible.
I mean, just look at what this thing can do. This is what makes it so terrifyingly effective. It's always one step ahead. It can predict a radar's next move before it even happens. It can create not just one fake target, but an entire swarm of them that all move with realistic physics. And get this, if one of its tricks starts to fail, the AI just goes, okay, that's not working, learns from the defender's response, and immediately switches to a different tactic. It's a relentless, intelligent, and constantly learning enemy.
Okay, so at this point you're probably thinking, how on earth do you defend against that? An enemy that can lie to any of your senses and that can literally outthink your defenses in real time. Well, the answer is actually pretty elegant and incredibly powerful.
You see, you can't fight an enemy that can fool any of your senses. So what do? You teach your senses to work together. You make them a team.
The name for this principle is multi-sensor fusion, and the idea is brilliant. You take all the data coming in from all the different sensors, radar, LiDAR, the camera, the IMU, the whole shebang, and you fuse it all together. The goal is to create one single, unified, and heavily cross-referenced ground truth. The key is that no single sensor gets to be the boss. No single sensor gets the final say.
And here's a perfect example of how it works in practice. So the attacker slaps on that adversarial patch, and the camera is totally fooled. It reports back, hey, I see a 45-mile-per-hour speed limit sign. But at the exact same instant, the LiDAR system is scanning the physical shape of that sign. It doesn't care about the letters, it just reports, I see a flat octagonal object. The fusion system gets both reports and immediately flags a conflict. It says, wait a minute, the camera says one thing, but the LiDAR says something completely different. Boom, fusion conflict alert. The system instantly rejects the camera's input, trusting the physical reality measured by the LiDAR. The lie is defeated.
And, the results really do speak for themselves. If you look at this, relying on just one sensor, you're basically a sitting duck, highly vulnerable. Adding some basic sensor fusion helps, sure, but a truly hardened system, like the AegisNet platform they talk about in the source material, that uses this kind of advanced deep fusion, well, it's just in a whole other league of security.
And this shield didn't just appear overnight. It's constantly evolving. This timeline shows that cat and mouse game perfectly. Every time attackers came up with something new, the defenders built a new layer of the shield. First, they learned to detect radar spoofs. Then, when camera hijacking became a thing, they added cryptographically signed frames. It's like a digital wax seal on every image to prove it's authentic. Then came defenses for IMU attacks, until finally, they brought it all together under the Omni Shield with full multi-sensor fusion. It really is a never-ending arms race.
So, after all that evolution, what's the result? Well, in simulations, and we're talking simulations against the most sophisticated, coordinated, AI-driven attacks you can possibly imagine, this Omni Shield system achieved a staggering 99.99% neutralization rate. It is, for all intents and purposes, a near-perfect defense against this kind of deception.
So after all that, what's the big takeaway here? What do we learn from this deep dive into the invisible war on signals?
I think it's this, the great war of our time. It may not be fought with soldiers and tanks, it might be fought with signals.
Ultimately, it's a battle over perception itself. It's a fight to defend the digital truth of our physical world, to make sure that what our machines see, and by extension, what we see through them, is actually real.
And that leaves us with one final, really big question to chew on. In a world where an attacker can create a deepfake of the physical world, a ghost car, a phantom wall, a fake sign, how do we and how do our machines ever really decide what's real?